In this lesson, we're going to look at backing vocal 2. This is a fairly simple part. It's kind of like a vocoder vocal, which is really, it's a nice part to recreate actually, and I'll show you how I came up with my results in just a second. The first thing you need to know is there's a little bit of heavy delay on this, so you will have to be aware of that. And there are generally just two notes all the way through, which are F sharp and E, so fairly easy to follow on the score. Now, there's multiple ways that you could approach this one. The first one is you will need some kind of delay. I found that really hard to achieve, so to get the same effect as what they've got on their delay. So what I ended up doing is actually just writing in the extra notes and just making them a little bit quieter. You've got a few ways of approaching this. I've approached this using automation. So I've actually kind of found out where the levels are, and I've used automation throughout to kind of get those dips. You could have also used velocity, and I've got a little bit of velocity done to get those little bits of changes and things. And you could have also used one of the expression controllers down here in the controller. I didn't have very much success with controller on this one, and I think it might have something to do with the instrument that I used. But generally, to get those fluctuations in volume where the note kind of gets louder or quieter, I would generally use expression. But for this one, I've just gone with just a general automation, and that's done the job. Now, the instrument that I wanted was definitely the vocoder sound. I wanted vocoder, and Logic has got a fantastic vocoder. Once again, as is pretty much all the other DAWs on the marketplace. This one, the EVOC PS, I came to this first. I didn't even look for the presets on this because they generally don't come up very easily. So I went straight to this vocoder and I came into the preset library here rather than doing it in the library over here. And that allowed me to go down, find the synthesizer, and then work my way through here. Now there was two that I really liked. This Analog Bells is a fantastic choice, and the one that I've gone for is the Calm Beach. There's probably more through here, but I kind of just stopped at Calm Beach because it was getting me the tones that I wanted, so that's what I did. I still had to change a lot more on the instrument itself. I did a lot of work with the attack and release. I did a little bit of work with the cutoff. I just had to bring the cutoff up a little bit to try and get the resonance and the kind of frequency range to cut through the mix a little bit. So you will have to have a little play with this. Once again, I'll leave these settings on the lesson page as well, so have a look at those. Once I've kind of messed around with this, and once again it did take me quite a long time, I then had to look at the phrasing of these. They're not all the same phrasing. The notes in places are slightly different. So if I lose the automation for a sec, once again I'll give you the screenshot of the automation on the lesson. If we come into it, you can see that the phrasing is ever so slightly different on all of them, and you will have to be very aware. Some notes are slightly longer, some notes are slightly shorter. I've got some notes that are obviously before the beat, like this one here comes in quite a bit before the beat, but then these ones are a bit tighter to the beat, so you need to have a listen to that. And then you've also got the fact that they're not always the same rhythm. Now I think these ones are, but when you get to the verse section, it's ever so slightly different. It comes in on beat 2 rather than beat 3. Okay, so this is on beat 3, this one comes in on beat 2. I only managed to hear this little echo effect once, but twice, but I'm sure it happens in other places, so you might want to just keep your ear out for that echo effect, just to kind of make sure you get all those notes in. Now, as you can see from my layout, this is how I've got it kind of patched in. It starts at the bridge, and then it has this one note on the verse. Now these ones are all written, minus the echo part, that's not written. And then you have to kind of work out what these ones are as well. And I've just basically got them identical to the verse. So I've just copied and pasted the verse ones for these. And then I think this one is ever so slightly different as well. Once again, I'll give you all those notes just so you can have a little look. But I would definitely listen to the track with this piano roll open, so you can kind of identify any rhythmic changes. Once you've done that, then we're going to come over to the panning. Now I've got the panning, a very deliberate 22 on the right, this one. Once again, we're kind of trying to place it with all of our other vocals as well. So if you look at this one, that was obviously the center. So we've got on the right on this one, and then this one comes over to the left. So when you're looking at this section here, you know, you've got them playing against each other. Once again, giving lots of space to the main vocal. So, drop around 300 Hertz. And I played around with the cutoff as well. Initially, I also had a boost up here, but rather than putting the boost in at 2K, I decided that I would get more out of the actual cutoff. So I came to the cutoff, and I've just literally, well, it was actually higher, so I actually just dropped it down ever so slightly. So I had to kind of get those frequencies right so it cut through the mix. I also put a compressor on. That made it pump out the mix a little bit. Just a nice easy compression with about 4:1 ratio, and just, I think I boosted it. Yeah, 1.5 boost there. And that was pretty much all I did. So let's hear what I've got so far. So let's mute that one, which we've done already, and let's press play, see what you think. We'll just play it on its own so you can hear it on its own as well. Okay, and here's the track. So listening to that, I could probably make mine ever so slightly louder. However, because I've done automation, I am going to have to come in and change the automation change the volume within the automation track now. It would be useless me trying to bring that up, because as soon as I press play, it will drop to wherever it's meant to be. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you do use automation, it's a bit of a destructive process. You limit yourself to not being able to use the fader after you've started using automation. Generally, if I'm doing audio mixing, I'll leave the automation to a later stage, but as I'm kind of sculpting as I go with the sequencing task, I have used automation throughout the track. Okay, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this track. Give it your best shot, and we'll see you in the next lesson.